Philosopher is both the fool and the magician in tarot. Of course, he is even more, but these two summarize it pretty well. Like the magician, philosopher is seeking the highest wisdom and awareness, seeking to master all aspects of life and the highest traits and skills. But simultaneously, like the fool, philosopher is ready for new adventures, ready for whatever life throws at him, ready to abandon unnecessary thinking when it is time to go with the flow of life. Sometimes philosopher does simple practical experiments. Sometimes philosopher looks what others have done. Sometimes philosopher breaks things down to the simplest way he can think of them. Sometimes philosopher thinks what would follow if he accepted something as true. Would it lead to something absurd elsewhere? So many quote-unquote solutions and answers that seemingly explain one thing actually lead to a situation where, according to them, something else that exists could not exist in the way it does. So philosopher knows they cannot be true. And sometimes philosopher just lets the fool heal his wounds and throw him into some new and invigorating adventure that has as little to do with thinking as possible. The fool's way is a silent and sacred way of going with the flow of life and not drifting away from it by thinking. Signs will guide the philosopher when he is the fool, and all he has to do is recognize them. Real philosophy has nothing to do with meaningless academic analysis. It is a way of life, the highest possible way of life for a human being. Whatever works is the philosopher's principle. Take the good and leave the bad. Why should you defend the weaknesses of some doctrine or knowledge system? And on the other hand, why shouldn't you take what's valuable in them? Take the good, leave the bad, and move on. This is the wisdom of the philosopher. Cheers all you lovely humans and all the best. For Teini Aliithia.